Hi guys, this is Moni and welcome back to my channel. For those who are visiting for the first time, welcome. I hope by the end of this video you will be motivated enough to leave a like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell. To subscribe is that little red button down below, and the notification bell is literally a bell. So it's a sunny day here in Jamaica, and I know that kind of sounds cliche. I mean, it's the tropics, so most of our days are sunny, but I happen to live in the parish that is the most mountainous, and we don't have any beaches. Yes, and we do have a lot of days when it's pretty cold for tropic. I mean, considering that we don't have homes with heaters and we don't have winter clothes, for us it's pretty cold. So, and we also get a lot of rain. So recently we've been getting a lot of rain, a lot of hurricanes have been forming, and so we've been experiencing the outer bands of those hurricanes. But today so far has started out as a really nice and sunny day. So I'm here in the background, some of my plants, see? I'm just sitting down on my upstairs balcony and talking to you guys. Exciting news. This video is going to be a video of me remaking my son's room in an effort to prepare him for online learning, to try and allow his environment to be conducive towards learning, and I'm going to be sharing that video with you. But I'm also going to be chit-chatting a little bit about being a mom in 2020 where there is online learning, and how it is that we can adjust to that and deal with the distractions that will come with that for children. And so this is going to be tied into my exciting news, my blog that I launched last week called Confessions by a Mom, and I'll put a link in the description box. It's www.confessionsbyamom.com. I posted my first article last week, and my second article will be going up this week and will be tied into this video. A girlfriend of mine made that suggestion. I won't promise I'm going to be tying every article into a video, but this one I felt as if I could do a tie-in. So online learning, boy oh boy, in Jamaica we don't have any physical schools. Initially we haven't had physical schools since March. The hope was to start physical schools back in September, and then our government announced that no schools will be allowed to be back to host physical classes until October 5th, and then October 5th, of course, that has been further delayed. No definite date has been stated, but my suspicion is that at least for the rest of this term or this calendar year, we will not be having physical schools. I'm not a pessimist, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't have school for the rest of the academic year. But you know, so my son's room was there. I wasn't concentrating on fixing it up. I mean, the youngest son, he always tears the room apart. His room is the room that everybody comes and stays, because he has a bunk bed that I had split in two, plus there's an extra bed that was my eldest son's first bed outside of a crib, and those three beds were all tossed in there. So before I go any further, let me just show you guys what the before of the room looks like. Right, so that was the before the room. When the pandemic just hit and I was sent to work from home full-time, my husband is an essential worker, and based on his job there was no moving it to home, so he had to be going to work 6 days a week, Monday to Saturday, every single day, just the same. And I was becoming quickly burnt out because I was trying to do every single thing by myself, and that really was just not working. So I had to find a way to balance. Now, one of the things that my husband did in order to ease some of the burden from me is that he would ensure that he prepared breakfast in the mornings for everybody before he left, and when he came home after dinner he would wash up. when the cases where he didn't prepare breakfast, I had my big son, my eldest son, making breakfast for him and his brother, and it would be easy stuff. So I stocked the house with stuff that was easy to prepare, like toaster strudels, waffles, pancakes, simple things. And then for lunch I would put hot dog and stuff there, that for the days that I was not working from home, and this is towards the last month or two, he would be able to prepare the hot dog. But as soon as his school, my eldest school, went online, I could no longer burden him with those responsibilities because he had to tend to his own school. So my husband, Rafa, would make the breakfast in the morning, head off to work, and I would ensure the kids eat and was ready for school. Now, at that point, we were all thinking that school would reopen here in Jamaica for September, and that was the government's hope, and that was on the timetable. But as it became closer to the time, and especially with my husband being involved in the medical field, it became more and more grim, and I became more and more aware through his conversations, the news, what was happening around, that was a very slim possibility. And so September, the government delayed school reopening until October 5th, and October 5th the government announced no physical schools are to officially restart, but using online learning. Now by this time I'm back at work 2 days, 3 days, and so I have a helper here who would be able to give the kids lunch, and then I made arrangement with Luke's teacher to ensure that his webcam was on, so she would be able to better monitor his distractions during school time. I explained to her that myself and my husband are not always here to supervise the process, and I know he was easily distracted, and I think most kids are easily distracted. This is the world of YouTube and Fortnite and Minecraft and all of these video games. That's the new way kids play. It's not even about now as opposed to then, it's just what is. And so being on a computer itself was a distraction. So the number one thing I knew I had to do once it is that September was approaching was to make Luke's space. Saji already had a space that was very conducive to learning, and he was older and therefore more responsible, but I had to make Luke's space a little bit more conducive to learning. So the first thing that I did was to change the aesthetics of the room. I created a designated learning area space. I redid some of it, the furniture piece that he had. I painted it, I made it in his favorite color. He loves blue, and I wanted to surround him with a color that he loved. We already had the curtains. All I did was to buy a quarter paint, which cost me about 1800 Jamaican, which is about $15 US. And apart from the paint, I bought some knobs, some white knobs to replace the knobs that was on the old chest of drawer, and that would have cost me probably another 2,000 Jamaican. Altogether with everything I spent, I would have spent less than $50 US, because I'm reusing everything he has in the room and getting rid of a lot of garbage. So before I go any further, let me just take you guys into what that makeover process looked like. So yeah, Rafe and I kind of hit out that renovation in a day and a half. So let me start with some of the tips now for us moms that have to be supervising online learning. So tip number one is get your partner involved in the process, in any way in the process, to kind of ease the burden from you as a mom. This is not a mom thing, it's a mom and dad thing, right? Now, if you're not a single parent, because this is, I mean, when it's a single parent, it's a whole different ball game, right? But if you do have a partner at home, get them involved in the process. So Rafa makes breakfast for the kids every morning before he goes to work, and he was also a part of the process of creating that designated work area. And on Sundays he would help us with revision on the subjects that he had greater strength in than I did. So that's how he was involved in the process. And of course, setting up the tech part of things, setting up the computer, you know, he did what he could. No, so tip number one, get your partners involved. Tip number two, create a designated learning space for the child. It doesn't matter where. In my case, it was in the same room that he slept. I just picked a wall for his desk to go along. I created a accent wall using paint, and with that he was able to understand that when I go to this desk is for learning. This was created for my schooling, and it puts them in a better frame of mind. It's almost as if, you know, okay, we're in class, you know. So I created a designated learning space. And tip number three, which is probably the most important thing, a lot of times when I speak to mothers who are working from home amidst everything that's happening, part of the issue is that they can't get no work done because the kids keep on coming in, mommy this, mommy that, mommy that. So the tip number three is create an organized environment for your child. That way your child will know where to find a pencil, where to find a pen, where to find his textbook, where to find a notebook. In my case, I moved the printer from my bedroom into Luke's bedroom, and Rafa took the time to teach him how to scan documents and upload them on his own to the teacher. So that has eased a lot of pressure from me because he's able to do certain things on his own. A part of organization as well is that I designated my son's lunchtime as my lunchtime, even when I'm working from home. Even when I'm working from home, people are still entitled to a lunchtime. So I created a designated lunchtime, and within that lunchtime is when I would be able to prepare something for him to eat for lunch, and I ensured it was something that was very filling. I would also prep certain stuff so that I can prep little fruits and stuff from the day before and put them in containers to ensure that he had something healthy to eat for lunch. So that's tip number one, tip number two, tip number three. Tip number four is have signed the child up for an evening program. It could be extracurricular activity. There are a lot of extracurricular activities that have been offered online, from art to dancing classes, believe it or not, to extra classes in terms of academics. For me, for my youngest son, I signed him up in an academic extra class because he's in grade 6, which means that in Jamaica, grade 6 is when you do an external exam that transitions you to high school, and it determines the results of that exam determines the high school that you're placed at, whether it's a traditional high school or A rated, B rated, C rated based on academic performance. And so it was important that he be prepared adequately for that exam. So I have him in a class that is 4 to 5. For me, I use EDUFOCAL. I'll put that link below. It's not sponsored. And so he had that class at 4 to 5 that served as a revision. So it took away me having to revise with him every day. And then what I did then is ensure that on a Saturday and on a Sunday I would create zones where I would go through schoolwork with him. No more than an hour and a half, because he needed to be a child, but because of the exam, of course, it was important. And so I created a time for going through the work and revising, because the reality is that not all kids are learning and adapting very well to online learning, and you have to be able to, as a parent, gauge how well that child is doing. So I created that learning time between me, the parent, and him on the weekend. So those are my 4 tips. Let me go through them again. Tip number 1, get your partner to help in the process. Tip number 2, create a designated learning space for your child. Tip number 3, be organized. That way your child will have to rely less on you to support the online process. And tip number 4, so it's 5 tips. Tip number 4, get your child involved in extracurricular activity if you can, in any way you can, even if it's online learning. Tip number 5 is create revision time to go through this work with the children on the weekend or whenever you have free time. That way you can better assess how well they're adapting to the online environment. And tip number 6 is the final tip. Is it's more important than ever for the kids to have physical activity. So create activities that are outdoor centric. One of the first things I did was it's not even physical in terms of football and stuff alone, because I don't have a space where it's conducive to those kind of things. They go outside and they play a little football, yes, but it's tarp and it's hard and it's not grass and it's not particularly big, so that's not something that they can do every day. But I will buy art supplies and we do art and stuff on the outside. I draw hopscotch and we play hopscotch on the outside. And one of the first things I did was to create a Ludo board. And so on our balcony we will come from time to time on a Saturday or a Sunday night, and we play Ludo on the weekends just to get them away from screen time. So try to put in activities that get them away from screen time during their leisure time or downtime. So I hope this entire video helps, and I'm going to exit by showing you guys Luke's reaction to the room. So until next time guys, this is Life with Money. Like, subscribe, and please remember, subscribe to my blog as well, www.confessionsbyabomb.com, where there is a written article about a lot of what it is that I said to you. Yeah, so enjoy guys, and thanks for stopping by. All the best.